So it has come to my attention that some people think my videos are a bit long and boring to watch. So, I mean, I am no one to argue with my viewers. I decided to spruce up my channel. So today we're going to be tearing down this Apple power supply. This power supply was supplied to me by a tweakers.net user called General Snooze. And I see the problem. I see the problem. Look, the image, it's all really bright. I should tone it down a little. Yeah, there we go. That's more contrast. Should it go one more? Yeah, that's good. I literally just got out of bed, like I haven't even had time to do my hair yet. So now we've got the video fixed, so let's see what this power adapter is like. Oh my god, look at that! As soon as I saw that Apple logo, I knew it was gonna be crap, but I didn't expect that kind of gunk there. That is just horrid. What the hell happened there? Oh man, let's just take this off. And I think it's supposed to come out like that. I had a really hard time pulling off that plug, jeez Louise. And there is one way, like recently there was a recall by Apple because they make really shitty power adapters, and this is really shitty. Apple sucks. And this is like fucking shitty. And one of the ways you can identify whether they are shitty is to look at like little markings here. Oh man, oh man, we have to be dealing with the shittiest power supply in the whole wide world because it's got the markings. Let's just quickly take a look at all the lies on this power supply. This power adapter is a piece of shit. So usually, like the safety mark and this number here, that's usually a good sign, and like the UL listing, and it's got the complete UL number here, but this is really shitty because they're just lying here because it's Apple and Apple sucks. The devil is in Apple. Anyway, the power supply is apparently made by Lighton, so it's not even made by Apple. Look, that's the first line we can identify already. So looking further at the external design, so they have this generic power brick, which is just really shitty because like you want the power brick to be customized to your country, and you don't want them to use these plugs to make them universal because this just reduces waste, and everybody knows that's communist thinking. They have these little pegs that fold out, that hold the cord. Pegs. Also really shitty because I bet they break off because it's Apple and they're shit. I guess there's no other way around it. We just have to break open this turd and see what's inside. So this casing, like if we look at the plastic marking here, it says PC, which I just couldn't believe that plastic marking, which stands for polycarbonate. And usually that's a good thing, but because this is an Apple power supply and this is just a crappy power supply, it's probably a bad thing, you know? Like they've got the shielding, so there's even some screening, like then there's more like high frequency copper shielding here. Which is also like in most power supplies, I would say this is a big plus, and like this is actually good design. But do you believe this? I mean, look at this. This is not even a thermal pad. That's thermal paste. It's like gross, man. Jeez, I felt like I had to wash my hands after that. Usual Apple style, they just gunked everything up. Like usually that's a good thing because it prevents when you like drop the power adapter. It prevents stuff from rattling around and breaking loose, but in this case it's obviously done to completely obscure all the innards and make it hard to see what kind of demons are inside. Like this side is a bit like they didn't really try too hard, but there was stuff here. There was like little plastic film here that could have maybe also been used for, like, you know, fucking shielding or something. But it's obvious, it's Apple. It's gonna be shit.
I'd rather have a Microsoft Zune.
So looking at the insides, we see the power coming in here and going into this pretty giant filter. Bridge rectifier is under here, CLC filter, and then they have the power factor correction, choke, and transistors. And that goes into the main filter cap, which is a Rubicon, which is generally considered really good. But like, because this is an Apple power supply, I'm just assuming they chose a crappy version. Here is actually the primary switch. It's a single switch, so this is a quasi-resonant converter.
Quasi-resonant. Like a bunch of twats.
And then we get to secondary rectification, and they actually use synchronous rectification here. So that means instead of an output diode, which has a higher voltage drop, so it has lower efficiency, they use a MOSFET, which has a better efficiency, but it's harder to drive, so it's like more expensive. So generally this is considered a really good thing. 2 output capacitors, which are Rubicons. Again, they don't have any output magnetics. Well, maybe there's a little ferrite in here. Ah, there we go. There's actually a little ferrite in here, so that's crap. Phew. Dodged a bullet there. Also of note here is that there is a non-resettable fuse there, so if your power supply ever dies, good chance that this fuse is blown. Controlling all of this is a TA1751LT, quasi-resonant flyback controller and a PFC controller, one of the Rolls-Royce models of switching converters. The controller for the synchronous rectification here is a TEA1762T, which is a general companion SR controller for the 1752. And kind of cool to see is that they again use these surface mount current sense resistors to do output current sensing and overcurrent protection, overpower protection. And in general, this has really good protections, which I guess is to protect Apple's IP as they steal all our money. Oh, and here's a really evil critter. This is an LPC microcontroller, also by NXP. The whole thing is NXP heavy.
I guess NXP is in on the deal as well.
And this is that little chip that makes it so your power supply doesn't work if you don't use the right computer with it or something like that. It's a really evil little bastard. Now, of course, no power supply review is complete without load tests, and I had a couple of you comment on this interface I use. The lettering is too small and that it's hard to read stuff, so I decided, okay, in the vein of this whole revamp of the channel and making it more engaging, I updated the interface to have more readable text. So there we go. And there we go.
Apple's expensive.
A long story short, I kind of went ahead without you and did the whole efficiency test, and it looks weird as fuck. So what you're seeing here, the blue line is the efficiency, and it starts out pretty high. Like even at 2.5 watts output power, it's already above 80% efficiency, and it gradually increases. But here you see the Apple crappiness. It suddenly dips quite precipitously, and then it goes up again, and then it kind of peters out at just below 90% efficiency. This is the trap. Like, people think, oh, this is a great power supply, and they never load it up to more than like 40 watts. They just forget that Apple builds in this special feature where it doesn't turn on the power factor correction until it's about halfway loaded. So you save power at low power, which is evil because it's a giant corporation and Apple is evil. As it turns on the power factor correction, obviously that circuit uses some power. So the efficiency goes down, but the power factor goes up. So the power factor, the red line, is actually way under here. It's at 0.35 for most of the lower range. and then it goes up to 0.92 or 0.93. And the evil Apple does something else. If you look here in these way too small letters, you can see the voltage up to about 50 watts output. It outputs 16 volts, and then suddenly it increases towards the end to like 17.5 volts at 65 watts output, and then at maximum output 85 watts it's 18.5 volts. So it increases the voltage. They do that to improve efficiency at the high level, not just the efficiency of the power supply, but also the efficiency of the circuitry that comes behind that, so the laptop. So this power adapter is actually not a constant voltage output power adapter. Also notice that we could actually draw more than 110 watts, almost 115 watts. And this shows you that Apple is crap, because they put in a 5 amp fuse and we were drawing more than 6 amps here. So that's obviously some kind of ploy to make the certification agencies think that they had proper fire security, but actually they don't work. It's just a piece of wire. And as far as output ripple goes, it's about 40-45 millivolts RMS at maximum output power.
Such a piece of crap.
So I hope you're now convinced that Apple is indeed an evil corporation, just out to get all our money, churning out crap that's good for nothing, making stuff that can't even output the constant voltage, and does all kinds of tricks to improve efficiency and makes everything really high quality just to trick us, people like me. Like, I know I do reviews of power supplies. They know how to get me. They say like, oh, this is a Rubicon, and there's these other cool things like synchronous rectification, and it's all super high quality and it's made by a really leading brand power supplies. But actually, they're made by Apple, so you know, has to be bad. Anyway, die in a fire, fuck you.
I hate this power supply. I